Hey everyone, and welcome to Sketch Card Hive. So today we're going to go ahead and be talking about budget collecting. Now, in this video today, I'm going to be on my phone, and we are going to go down YouTube and talk about some things that are what I would consider a pretty good buy-in at a reasonable price. Now, again, this is me not causing fear of missing out, or in fact, even trying to get you to buy anything that I may have. I don't. That's not the game I want to play. So let's go ahead and dive into this and look at a couple things that I've been staring at that I think, okay, these are a great buy. Now, a couple of things real quick. So here we're on eBay, right? I remember the way to do this is to not just take my word for it, but to check eBay sold listings. So let's look at that first. Let's go Marvel Masterpieces. Okay. And let's say autographs. All right. This is not one of my buys yet, but I did want to show you. If you go to filter and you scroll down to show more, and you go down to sold items, you click on that. And here you can see the actual prices of what things are selling. If you're a budget collector, I'm suggesting you don't do sketch cards. So that's going to be one of these like 5 tips, if that's how we're going to go ahead and clarify these. Don't go ahead and jump into sketch cards just yet. The tricky thing about sketch cards is that you don't want to buy tons of sketch cards you just like, because you might be overpaying for them and you can get them cheaper through a best offer or maybe even through trades. So I would kind of skip that road. So as you can see, there's a Spider-Man Miles Morales here. That was a Joe Jusko signed out of 10 that was on listed for 2,800 here. So you can see how much that card went for there. Now, this was under a best offer, not a buy it now. So I would just go ahead and check it with one of the sites that could double check prices, just to really understand the listings. So let's go ahead and get into this together. So in this video, I think one of the most important things to understand is that I'm looking at cards that are hard numbered. Nothing in this video of the 5 different sets I'm going to be showing you are not hard numbered. So let's go to something that's always been kind of a hidden gem, and something I'm into currently. Marvel 75th anniversary. And what you want to do here, you want to put gold. And there's the other option of putting 75 /75. The cards you're going to get coming up are these. That's a full set, so we'll ignore that. But let's check out this Black Cat, for instance, which is just a beautiful piece. This card here is just gorgeous. So the gold 75, 75th are actually numbered to 75. It was for the 75th anniversary. And this set was actually across 3 different card sets. I believe this was Dangerous Divas, and these were maybe like 1 per case. Very difficult card to find. As you can see on eBay, which is always a really cool indicator, is that look at the ones that are on here. They're not giant characters, right? This Elektra for $24.95 is ridiculously good price. I believe that's Bill Sienkiewicz art as well. Beautiful pieces. Again, on the back of them, they are hard numbered. Here you go. That you can see with the Human Torch, 35 out of 75. I mean, just having that card slabbed with that gold foiling on there, they're so much prettier in person than you think. Anyway, I do think this is a good buy. You have Thor, Hulk. You got a couple of biggies on here. This is a promo card, this Iron Man, so don't get too confused. That's not as rare. That's not numbered. That's a promo card. So be sure to look at the back. If they don't have a picture of the back, ask them for a picture on the back. So we go down the line here. You got a couple of different cards. You got Storm, you got Doctor Strange, you got Nova, you got Daredevil, Deathlock. I mean, there's some really cool cards on here that I would take a look at, and they're hard numbered. A big key factor here for these cards is that as you go through them, you can see that there's no Spider-Man, there's no Wolverine, there's none of the biggies, as you say. And that's because collectors who collect the really big characters have already kind of cleaned out this insert. So it's something to check out. It's cheap. It's under $30, $40 most of the times for any one of these cards. I think they're a buy, especially since they're hard numbered. And 75 is it's not a crazy hard number for Marvel right now. But if you look at the sports world and see what 75 edition size cards can cost, this is obviously a no-brainer. So Marvel 75th anniversary, gold. All right, so let's look at the next one. This is called Eccentric. Now, this can be a little more pricey as you go through here, but some of the cards are just gorgeous. There's a red, there's a regular, a red, and a purple. The red and purple are actually numbered, and they're numbered correlating to where they are in the checklist, as well as what is the hard number on the card. It's a little confusing. It's like the X-Men periodics, right? They're hard numbered off of kind of a quirky little thing they have. Yes, they're highly specific, and major collectors really like them because they're interesting and, has cool characters on it. They have cool features. Eccentric is a little bit different because it is a heritage insert, right? It's a legacy insert is a better word for it. It's an insert that also has a history in sports cards and, in cards in general. When you're looking at what to buy in Marvel cards, that right now is really the key factor, other than getting into the hobby, staying to the hobby for a while, and kind of realizing what people are into and what you really like too. So Eccentric is really nice. Now, the issue here is that some of the characters here are not big deal characters. As you can see, 24, 19, 19, Vulture, Molten Man, Hammerhead. Yes, they're not a big deal in terms of like characters, but Vulture's in the MCU. Molten Man's kind of in the MCU. Hammerhead's a no-brainer because that's coming up too. Are these big cards? No. Would I do best offer to get them lower? Yeah. The Spider-Man's really nice, and that's just a base, but it's pretty expensive. But I think there's some good hidden gems in here. Prowler, Cloak. I have the Prowler myself, and I like it. A good Carnage is in here. Rhino, Spider-Woman, Punisher. Punisher is banned right now. So that's a key character to take a look at if you can. Now, remember, the ones that are also sold on ComC, be sure to go to comc.com and log in. They'll be cheaper, and even cheaper if you can give a best offer. Wait, I will say for this insert here, Shang-Chi, I hope I'm saying that right, is on here, and he is going to be a huge MCU character, and that trailer was just so sick. So do check him out. He has a really cool insert on here, and it is numbered when you can find it, but the base is actually just a really nice card. And I think anytime you can find like a transparency card or a card that has a really cool feature on it that's really rare and get it graded and slabbed, you can turn this card from a $6.75 card, and when grading opens up, CGC, PSA, BGS, whatever you want to go into, you can grade this card in there and turn this into a $30, $40 card. Not to flip, but for presentation purposes, for display purposes, for a collection that you're investing in, I do think it's a good idea. Let's move on. So let's go to Marvel Buybacks. So Marvel Buybacks is another card, is another series of inserts that I think are actually pretty interesting. It really started with Marvel Masterpiece 2016. They have a silver stamp on them, and they're not hard numbered, but they are considered rare. I think there's only maybe 99 of each character from the Marvel Buyback for Marvel Masterpieces 2016. Don't quote me on that. Do a little bit of research, but I feel like that's true. But the number's only gotten smaller and smaller. If you're looking at buybacks, Flair went down to 20, I believe it is. Yeah, so Flair buybacks are out of 20, and now Marvel Metal buybacks are out of 10. So we are making them a staple of the Marvel hobby, or at least Upper Deck is with their numbering. So it is something to check out, and it is something to be very aware of. For instance, and a lot of these are under $100. Spider-Man's a biggie. That's a hard buyback to find, but hopefully maybe with that buyback. You have Vengeance here for 23, which is a really cool card out of 20. It's not a bad idea. X-Men Rogue. Buybacks from Fleer Ultra X-Men from 2018 are out of 50, and there's Fleer Ultra Spider-Man buybacks too. But I will say that these are really special and hard to come by because there are people doing buyback sets. So don't sleep on those, because I do think they are fairly interesting. Anyway, but yeah, so I would definitely check out buybacks. I think there are some good cheaper ones. I know they're looking pretty expensive on what I'm moving down and forward to. See, there's a Silver Surfer. But I think there are some good deals to be had. ComC, you can do some, special offers, best offers, which I think really works. But yeah, check them out. I think they're really cool. Look at this Doom one. Doom 5 out of 20 for $45. Once Doom comes back into to Marvel cards, that's a huge character. It's not an easy thing to find Doom cards because a lot of Doom collectors out there, actually. And yeah, I will have a video on banned characters. There are some characters that are banned: Surfer, Fantastic Four, Doom, Nightcrawler. The list is kind of random, but also really interesting as they were shared products between Fox and Marvel. They are coming back, and they should be back hopefully soon. But something to take a look at when you're looking at cards here. For instance, here's another one, the 2016 Marvel Masterpieces 1992 buyback of Doom. Again, that's a very limited card with an awesome buyback stamp on it. And if you're looking at cards that are going to increase in value, because when you collect like me, you want it to also feel safe and not that you're just collecting a bunch of random things that will crowd up your room or whatever the case may be, or your brain for that matter. Making creative plays is a really interesting thing, is can be really comforting, I think. And Dr. Doom here stamped, I believe it's out of 99. There's no hard number on them, but they are rare, and you can look up a checklist and you have some proof there. And I don't think that's too crazy for some of these cards, especially when you're looking at the Joe Jusko set. So yeah, buybacks. Let's move on to the next one. So let's look at Marvel graded cards. Now, I know what you're thinking. Graded cards? Why are we doing that? Let me explain. So the reason I'm doing Marvel graded cards is purely because of context, right? Right now, PSA is charging a lot of money. BGS is charging a lot of money to grade cards. So if you can get a Marvel card that's in a PSA slab or a BGS slab for like under $100, and it's a cool character and it's a great card and low pop, I mean, a lot of them are going to be low pop right now. Doesn't mean they're not going to be low pop in the future. It's just, you're coming into the Marvel hobby after a lot of Marvel characters not wanting to grade their cards. And the people who had been grading Marvel cards are people who have been grading cards professionally for a long time. So that's why you see more 10s than 9s in some cards now, just so you know. But I do think looking at some cards here that are graded for a cheap price, like this is from EMC. I don't know that company. I'm not going to talk crap about any company, but it is a Gem Mint 10 EMC for $11 plus $4.95. You know what? If you're really looking to bargain hunt, there's nothing wrong with buying this card, looking at the pictures and really seeing the corners and the condition of the card. I mean, She-Hulk's going to have her own series on Disney Plus. So I understand what the play is there and looking at the prospect of her character. I don't think it's a big deal cracking that case or just keeping it as a side piece until you decide to go back to PSA. I think that makes a lot of sense. And the other thing I would say about graded cards, if you're buying Marvel cards and you're looking to like get into something, look at Marvel cards that are glossy and have a lot of gloss on them. The reason for that is because those cards and boxes will brick and they will come out damaged. So all the cards that are already in slabs that are a little bit glossy, those are probably going to be harder to grade in the future than not. So do check that out. Yeah, so I do think that's a play, and I do think there are some interesting cards here. Yeah, Marvel graded cards, something to take a look at, something to explore. See, EMC graded 10, Surfer 93. They're just off-putting them. Be careful, gotta trust the bigger grading companies over the smaller ones as of right now. Some of the smaller ones are great, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. They're just in their infancy. So you want to be careful putting all your money into them, I should say. But if you trust them and you like them and you see nothing wrong with their grading stuff and you cross-reference grading thing and you feel good about it, then that's it. And if you ever want to try out a company, the best thing to do is that you buy a slab from like EMC or SGA, more importantly, or H, whatever is another one. You look at the card that was received by that grading company, you crack the slab, and then you send it to PSA, spend a little bit of money, and see what PSA graded the same card that they consider a 9 or a 10. And by doing that, you're kind of showing yourself, okay, you know what? Yes, this card got a 10 here, but it got a 9.5 at BGS. that's good enough for me, then that's it, and then you can trust that company and so forth. But there's a lot of good people doing a lot of really interesting things out there. So something to look at. So last and final thing I would say, boxes. You want to be careful buying boxes for the same reason. A lot of people, when they go ahead and invest in Marvel cards, they go look at how they can invest in Marvel boxes. So if you go to Marvel card boxes or box, right? Here you're going to see a few different types of price points for boxes and packs and all this stuff. Don't ever buy loose packs. I worry about doing that because the cards are jumbled in there and you don't know how they've kept the packs, or they've tossed them into a box and now they're taking them out because there's money in them. It can be kind of dangerous. Really cheap boxes and other types of boxes, you want to make sure there's still a viable pool in them. For instance, if you're looking at Marvel Masterpieces, some Marvel Masterpieces lines, like I think 2016, all the red Spectrums have pretty much been pulled. You can possibly get a silver Spectrum auto or some of the rarer cards if you don't know what this is, but a lot of them have already been pulled. How do you learn about that? You can ask me questions in the comments down below. Go to my Instagram. Groups on Facebook really work, like MCCW, or any of the other content creators of Marvel cards that are around. Just pop in and ask them a question. They'll ask me, or they'll ask somebody else who knows way more than I do, and kind of hope to find you the answer there, see if it's worth the pool, because some of these boxes can get expensive. So I would definitely check that out and look at inserts that are difficult to grade. That's something as a little bonus one to think about. You don't want to be throwing a lot of money on cards that are possibly going to be overgraded. So you want to look at cards that are condition sensitive and possibly hard numbered, under $100. Just to wrap it up, give you a little bit of a summary of what it is. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for joining me. I guess I'll call this a top 5 Marvel budgeting card hunt. And well, I'll think of a way better title than that. But hope you enjoyed. I remember I do have a giveaway for a 1992 uncut sheet, prototype uncut sheet. Look in the next video on how to enter, and also check it out on Instagram. All right, thank you, everyone.